Welcome to Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. I'm in Big D. That's right, I'm in Dallas, and I'm here with Ryan Hodge at Roto Hobo from ProjectRoto.com. Ryan, thanks for hosting us here in Dallas, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How's the driving been going, man? You're just booking city, getting it in.
I don't want to talk about it because booking, man, it has been crazy, especially now I'm doing the really long legs. I did the show yesterday in El Paso where I officially lost my mind. It was crazy. I did the show in El Paso right next with Juarez in the background. It was nuts, absolutely nuts. But, I'm really happy to be here in Dallas, man.
I'm glad you're here, man. You want a funny story about El Paso?
I'd love to hear a funny story about El Paso.
All right, so I was driving here when I was moving, stopped at Denny's. There was a full-on World of Warcraft scene going on at a Denny's in El Paso, Texas. That is El Paso, Texas, so everybody's crazy in El Paso. So, sorry if you, my bad.
I still love you, El Paso. I still love you. All right, let's get to some fantasy football news, some of the games that happened yesterday. So, first off, Johnny Manziel looked absolutely fantastic. Now they're saying he has probably throttled ahead of Hoyer. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the depth chart that you look at, but he's either one or two, and head coach is saying that he's basically refuted that he's not number one on the depth chart. I hope he is. I love me some JFF. I think his legs are going to be a fantastic asset, and if you are looking at taking a guy as a late-round flyer, why not? Why not go with Johnny Football? You never know what he's going to do with those legs, and some people have said it's the Konami cheat code.
Konami, up, down, left, right, BA, select, start.
Those legs.
I love that. Never heard that before. That's fantastic. All right, so yeah, he's going to be interesting. Where would you be comfortable picking Johnny Manziel? Because you know what? I didn't think he would be the starter at the beginning of the season, and now I'm singing a different tune. I think he is going to start. How high are you comfortable taking him?
Tonight, I probably won't draft him. If we find out that Gordon is able to play the last 8, I think it bumps up his value. I love to wait on quarterback. I think a lot of people know that, and I'm more of the Rivers, Carson Palmer, trying to get good value. I think Johnny Football could end up honestly being a waste of a pick at this point.
Okay, interesting. By the way, I don't know if anyone ever told you this. It's pretty humid here in Dallas.
It's sticky. It's sweaty. It's like 60 in my car. It's literally 99 degrees, and it's 7 o'clock. It's fantastic.
It's not the heat that'll mess you up. It's the humidity. Okay, moving on. So, Gus Bradley, head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, actually made a comment that Marquise Lee, second-round pick out of USC, has been kind of dogging it in practice.
Yeah, I read those, and I don't think it's a lot to worry about. I don't know. I know he had a lot of injury issues at USC, a lot of nagging injuries, so I don't know if he's going through something that's nagging.
Sorry, you're really handsome. You should look at the camera. You're such a handsome fella.
Right here. I'm with you. I don't know if it's something that's nagging or if he's just not mentally into it. I think it's one of the things that we can play out. Honestly, I think he's a late-round flyer as it is at this point anyways. I don't really trust the scheme in Jacksonville, and it's kind of a team that I tend to stay away from as I'm drafting.
You're kidding.
Sometimes. I try not to kid a whole lot, but sometimes I do.
Okay, so what about in Dynasty League formats? Because this guy, we were in Phoenix the other day. We did the Dynasty League draft. He was the 14th overall rookie selected. What about from that point of view?
Yeah, I think if you're in a 12-man league, he definitely goes in the middle rounds, regardless of what's happening in training camp right now. He's got potential to be the number one in Jacksonville, and I think he has a lot of potential for your dynasty or your rookie draft teams for sure. Wicked.
Okay, next up, Kirk Cousins is actually outplaying RG3 in camp. Now, this is just camp talk, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure. I'm kind of sure, but Cousins was really good last year. What's your take?
The first thing that comes to mind with Cousins is Captain Kirk, and I love Star Trek, so we can go with that. But there was a couple stats that I was looking at, and out of all, I think there was 45 quarterbacks last year who threw more than 100 attempts. So essentially, you're looking at around 3.5 starts, full starts as a quarterback. He was the last rated quarterback out of all 45. It's Robert Griffin's your starter. He's gonna be the starter. Don't pay attention to it. It's not a big deal. It's camps. Just let it fly right now.
If you were another team, would you go and get him? Because I think Cousins could be a starter for quite a few teams in the league. What do you think?
Yeah, I know that I started him. I think it was maybe weeks 13 and 14 in a couple daily fantasy leagues over at DraftKings, and he was good. He's more than a viable starter for my fantasy team. As a NFL franchise, it's something that you would really have to make a decision about. I don't know if he's somebody that I'd want to pay long term. So.
Yeah. By the way, love that you play DraftKings. If you want to play DraftKings with us, of course, enter promo code Razzball. Get in. We're going to play weekly games when football season kicks off. Okay, Andre Brown falling down the depth chart in Houston, which doesn't seem like it's news, but you know what? Here's why I think it is. I'm petrified. I'm not touching Arian Foster this year. First round, second round, third round, not touching him. The guy's ready to retire. And you know what? Brown scored a couple of touchdowns, quite a few touchdowns actually, a couple years ago with the G-Men. So I think he is going to be the backup. I think, again, this is camp talk. But I'm telling guys, draft Andre Brown with your last pick. Why not? Because there's upside there.
I want to say Jared Blue. I know his last name is Blue. I think he's listed as third on their depth chart right now. And that's honestly somebody that you could, if you are going to go near Arian Foster, and you better find some exceptional value on him in order to do that. Brown and Blue are definitely the guys to look at, and I might be butchering that third or fourth running back on their depth chart, but I like him as well.
Yeah, little boy Blue, that works. Okay. Rashad Jennings had that great 73-yard scamper against the Steelers last night. I think, though, the guy to watch there is Andre Williams, the rookie, because he's actually had 14 carries for 83 yards. Now, again, it's against second-string defenses, but he's looked pretty interesting.
Yeah, and the best thing is, too, is he doesn't put the football on the ground. And we know with Coughlin that guys who don't put the football on the ground end up getting the reps. And with those end-of-year round draft picks, you're looking at guys who are going to see the opportunity, not so much the talent. So if the opportunity's there and we see a little bit of flashes in the pan with the talent, I definitely think he's worth a pick.
Speaking of talent, let's talk about wasted talent. Jonathan Stewart, and it's not his fault. The guy's always banged up, but now his hammy's apparently not too jammy. He's heading back to camp. We don't care about Jonathan Stewart, right? We just don't care.
I literally haven't owned him on a single team, so I think that answers that question.
Wow. What about D'Angelo? I mean, D'Angelo's going to give you 1,000, 1,100 yards. He's not sexy, but he's consistent. You drafting him at all?
Yeah, consistency is key to winning, and especially if he ends up with those touchdowns. A lot of times we're going to draft touchdowns in the later rounds, and he is somebody who I think that you could end up with a pick, but there's just more upside, I think, in the later rounds than D'Angelo Williams. So.
Absolutely. Okay, we are in Dallas. We are going to come back and talk Cowboys in just a minute. We'll give you the team report for the Dallas Cowboys. Nick Capozzi, Ryan Hodge. This is Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. I'm in Dallas.
I was never one for traditional dating, which is why I like to meet guys on arrangementfinders.com. Arrangement Finders puts a twist on dating that works so well, they guarantee you'll find a girl. That's right, guarantee. Sounds too good to be true? Check out these girls on arrangementfinders.com who are looking to date. She's hot. She's hot. Okay, her, not so much. Anyway, it's free to join. Go to Arrangement Finders and meet girls like me who know what you really want.
Welcome back to Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. Of course, we are in Dallas, Texas with Ryan Hodge. So you know what? We got to do a Dallas Cowboys team preview. It's kind of a must.
I guess that's where we are. I don't really like them that much, but we can do it.
Well, we can talk hockey. We can do a Dallas Stars preview if you really wanted.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Although I will say I've seen a couple of Dallas Stars hats around here. I like that. Okay, so the Dallas Cowboys defense is going to be terrible. I think we can agree on that.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons to target their offensive players.
See, now that, you know what that's called? That's called genius right there. Okay, let's start at quarterback. Tony Romo, some concerns about his lower back, not being able to throw the ball deep. We were talking earlier about getting quarterbacks later. I like Romo a ton this year. Are you worried about his back?
I'm not worried about his back at this point, and like you said, he just keeps falling later and later in the drafts. You find guys like Brady, Romo, even later you look at Carson Palmer, but I mean Romo is exceptional value. He's got the weapons. He's got a running back who catches passes. It's coming from all over the place with Romo. I love him. I wouldn't be surprised if he finished top 5, top 6.
I wouldn't be surprised if he cracked 5,000 yards this year. Is that crazy?
Not crazy at all. You put him at 5,200 yards and 39 touchdowns, 42 touchdowns, give or take.
See, I'm all over that, especially late in rounds, right? I am a little bit concerned with the back, but I think once the games actually start, rolling out. Also, too, Romo's, people either love Romo or they hate Romo because it's the Cowboys, because they play on Thanksgiving. There's so many reasons to be up and down on it. So, I'm not crazy about what I was going to say is people get too emotional about Tony Romo, or I'll just strip that emotion out of there. And I'm like, give him to me. He's a great player. I'd rather have him, believe it or not, over Nick Foles, who, by the way, threw 2 interceptions his first game. There's no chance we see Brandon Weeden, right?
No. Well, you know what the crazy part is if his back spasms, maybe we see him in the second half. But no, there's no reason to waste a draft pick on him, and that's I think what we're focusing on here. So no.
Absolutely. Now, but let me ask you this question. Let's just say Romo's back flares up. He misses a game, 2 games or more. How does that affect the skill position players on offense if Whedon is in there instead?
I think the skill position players for the Dallas Cowboys are, I mean, you can look at like Josh Gordon or Calvin Johnson, whoever's under center. That athlete, or that receiver, that running back is going to make the quarterback excel, and that's what we're going to see in Dallas if Romo gets replaced by Whedon or whoever it may be.
Okay, Buzzy pick this year is DeMarco Murray, and he should be very talented, but dinged up a lot. His backups are really interesting. They got John Randall and Lance Dunbar. Let's start first with Dunbar, because Dunbar is interesting. If something were to happen to Murray, I think Randall's the guy that's going to get the reps because he's built for it. But I will say this, I do like Lance Dunbar a ton. What's your take on Dunbar?
Dunbar is not only the handcuff, I think he's somebody that should be owned even if you don't own DeMarco.
So he's the handcuff, not Randall?
I believe so. Yeah, I think Dunbar is going to be Lance is definitely going to be the handcuff there. He needs to be owned. You've got the Linehan effect going in, which the easiest thing that I compare that to is Mark Trestman going to Chicago last year. What we saw with Forte, Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, those guys. Linehan going in is going to feed his guys. It's going to be fantastic.
Dallas, really cool city too, man. Like seriously, the people here are lovely. Like I've only been here a few hours, but you can see like this is a really nice place, man. I've been through Dallas, but I've never been here before. I'm on the ground. I'm loving it. Okay, John Randall. So he's just we're ignoring John Randall.
I don't think you have to ignore him if you're looking at a super deep league. Maybe you're doing a My Fantasy MFL 10 and you want to take him as a late round flyer. If DeMarco Murray goes down, Randall's going to be the guy who fills in as what Lance Dunbar was to DeMarco Murray. I think I just completely made that complicated, but you'll understand it if you watch this a couple times.
Just hit rewind. Hit rewind. Just rewind it. Okay, let's now talk about the wide receivers. Des Bryant, arguably, you know what? To me, it wouldn't be crazy if he winds up being the number 1 wide receiver this year. Again, especially if Romo stays healthy. What's your outlook for Mr. Bryant this year?
I think the easiest thing to sum up the entire Dallas Cowboys as a whole is Scott Linehan. And Linehan was in Detroit the past 2 years, and Calvin Johnson has excelled. I don't want to take anything away from Calvin Johnson.
No, you shouldn't.
But I'm having a hard time not ranking Dez above Calvin. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, that's fair. Now, a guy I'm getting everywhere is Terrence Williams. I love him. He's got skills. I think this is his breakout year. Assess him.
Big body receiver. You got Scott Linehan going in. You're going to have a defense who is not going to be able to stop offenses, who's not going to be able to really do a whole lot on the defense side of the ball, giving your offense more possessions, which is ultimately going to result in more targets for the offense, including Terrence Williams.
Okay. Who's the third receiver in this offense?
It's going to sound crazy, but I think in a PPR league, you're going to look at Cole Beasley out of the slot. The guy's going to catch a lot of balls for you. It's who I'm targeting in PPR leagues at the late drafts. If you're doing like an 18, 19-round draft, somebody like that, I think you could fill in as a wide receiver 5 for you in your bye weeks, end up being a wide receiver 3 in your flex.
Interesting. Tight ends, Jason Witten has been around since, forever. Like, literally. He's old. He's been like he's kind of like the next Tony Gonzalez. How does he do this year?
I think he will end up being right where you draft him at. There's not a lot of upside with him, but he is consistent. He's not a guy that I end up owning because I'm usually first with tight ends or last with tight ends. I don't own the Vernons or the Jason Wittens, but he's going to be consistent. And if you want somebody consistent, Jason Witten's going to be your guy, especially in a PPR league.
Okay, let's talk about not consistent guys. I really like Gavin Escobar. I think there is big time upside. The guy is a field stretcher, lot of skill. I think long-term, especially if you play in dynasty leagues, he's the tight end in this offense going forward. But does he have any impact in 2014?
I think as we start breaking down defenses and we find out who's susceptible to the tight end, he's going to end up on your DraftKings GPP lineup that's going to take you to Atlantis because he will catch some deep balls and he will put up some monster weeks. But consistency, meh.
I'd like to go to Atlantis.
Who doesn't want to go to Atlantis?
Like the hidden city?
Oh, there's like powers, a lot of black magic. It would be gnarly. Super gnarly.
Oh, Ryan Hodge, you are a funny guy. So, Ryan, a couple more things just before we go. I got to tell you, people, my sugar daddy, brought to you by arrangementfinders.com, which is the player that I think is going to grossly outperform his ADP this year, is actually Gavin Escobar. I don't know why. I got a feeling. I love the skill. I think they're going to be passing a lot. And like you said, you're kind of digging deep for that third receiver on this team. I think we might see a couple of 2 tight end sets. I like Linehan. We've said Linehan like 19 times, but I guess this is the Linehan show. But I think Escobar is actually going to be a really interesting play this year, and I'm really excited about him. Okay, now if you play fantasy football, and of course you do, which is why you're watching this, you want to lock up your league fees for free. Why wouldn't you? You know why I don't commission anymore? Because I used to hate collecting. It brought my Italian half out of me. I had to knock on doors, and I'll leave it at that. Sportsvault.net. Lock up your league fees for free. There is no fee for that. Why wouldn't you? It just makes sense. It's logical. Okay, we're going to be back right after the break, and we're actually going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about some interesting lines. That's right, some Vegas lines right here in Dallas. Nick Capozzi, Ryan Hodge. This is Razzball Radio, Fantasy Sports Network.
I was never one for traditional dating, which is why I like to meet guys on arrangementfinders.com. Arrangement Finders puts a twist on dating that works so well, they guarantee you'll find a girl. That's right, guarantee. Sounds too good to be true? Check out these girls on arrangementfinders.com who are looking to date. She's hot. She's hot. Okay, her, not so much. Anyway, it's free to join. Go to Arrangement Finders and meet girls like me who know what you really want.
Welcome back, Razzball Radio, the Fantasy Sports Network. Again, Nick Capozzi here with Ryan Hodge. Ryan, I don't know if you know this. I might kidnap you for a couple days. You got any plans in the next couple days?
I was probably just going to drink some beer and mock draft, so I don't know, are those plans?
Man, you know what? I may be able to help facilitate that. All right, what we're going to do, we're going to do something a little bit different here because you know what? I get this question a lot about lines, and you know what? When we're back from the tour, we're doing the show regularly. Obviously, there's lots of time. We want to cover a lot of things. So one of the things we're going to cover a little bit is some lines. And I came across some prop bets happening. Of course, make sure you always obey local laws. Don't mess around. But if you're in Vegas or you're watching this outside of the United States and you want to get a little action on, there's some really cool parlays happening this year. And I wanted to go through a couple of them. And I kind of put you on the spot here. All right. Who does Vegas think is the first coach to get fired this year?
Dennis Allen.
Come on.
Yeah,
there you go.
All the lame teams.
Dennis Allen plus 400. So throw $100 down. If Dennis Allen is the first head coach fired, you make yourself $400. So yes, Dennis Allen's number one. Jason Garrett is number two at plus 450. Joe Philbin plus 750. And Doug Marrone, plus 800. I don't think so. I actually think the Bills are going to do better. It seems like the last couple of weeks people have been really down on the Bills. There's a good defense there. There's offensive skill position players. There's upside. Everyone's like, Manuel. Okay, even take out the fact that I like Manuel. I don't think the Bills are going to be terrible.
I don't think the Bills are going to be terrible either. I target a couple of their players in all of my drafts. So.
Okay, but as a team, so now we're talking just football. Give me some wins on it. What are you talking, 6, 7, 8, 9?
Probably 7 wins. I'd probably put the over-under at 7 wins.
I think if that defense stays healthy, could be even a little bit more than that. But anyway, okay, let's go. Some more prop bets here on my notepad. Offensive Rookie of the Year. What do you think it's going to be according to Vegas?
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun. Come on, man. I'll give you a hint. His name
Watkins?
is Sammy Watkins.
I mean, it's got to be Watkins, right?
Yeah, Sammy Watkins.
Defensive guy. I was trying to do all of that stuff, but no, I'd probably go Sammy Watkins.
Okay, Sammy Watkins. Yeah, Sammy Watkins plus $400. Second one is interesting. It's a guy we spoke about yesterday, Brandon Cooks from the New Orleans Saints, having a great camp so far. And I was speaking with Rob, of course, Smokey out of the bullpen from Razzball, and him and I had a long discussion about Brandon Cooks. The guy this week made defenses look terrible. Defensive backs could not keep up with him. Brandon Cooks, a guy you want to go out and get. And again, shot at being upside Rookie of the Year, offensive player, plus $700. Bishop Sankey of the Titans, plus 800. Do you think he's going to be the top rookie runner this year?
Top rookie runner, yes.
Really?
Yes.
In the bank?
Yes. I would not have him targeted in the early third round if I didn't think I was.
What? Yeah. What are you talking about? You're okay, sorry. Ryan, you need to leave. We're trying to give people good information, not take Bishop Sankey in the third round. No. What's the matter with you?
I'm telling you, I think that the system is just geared for him, and he is going to be the guy that pops for your team, especially if you didn't go running back in 1 and 2. You went tight end and a high-end wide receiver, maybe at the turn. You wait on a running back, you look at him as your number 1. He probably won't be your number 1, but sitting there as your number 2, I'm on board.
With all due respect, I disagree. Okay. Sankey plus 800. Johnny Manziel looks like he's going to be starting in Cleveland. What do you think? What do you think $100 to make you on Johnny Football?
I would.
Although we probably shouldn't talk about Johnny Football in Vegas.
I would. Well, what else is going to be there if we're hanging out with Johnny Football? That's the question. I would. No. He's not. He's not ending up on any of my teams. I don't think he's worth a roster spot.
But could he be the rookie of the year?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Could make you $1,000 plus 1,000. And last one, I like Terrence West a lot in Cleveland. I'm not sold on Ben Tate. Listen, I think Tate could do good. And you know what? Tate could surprise me, be a top 10 running back. That would not surprise me. I guess I just contradicted myself. But the point is that West is really interesting. That is arguably one of the top 3 or 4 offensive lines in football. It is an outstanding line. They're going to have to run the ball. And Terrence West is a really interesting back. The only question for me is how much he touched the ball in college because he ran it a ton. But that being said, he has the track record and experience of toting the rock. I think he could be great. He is plus $3,000 on a $100 bet for Rookie of the Year. What do you think about Terrence West this year?
I think those are fantastic odds, and if you got $100 to put down, I'd probably put it down on that.
When you're in Vegas,
Absolutely.
Las Vegas, Nevada, the state of Nevada. Okay. What else we got? We got more. Okay, I'm going to ask you these questions here. What do you think the odds are that Andrew Luck goes over 4,500 yards passing?
Like the actual Vegas odds, or just over?
What do you think?
I'd go under, but it's one of those things where I wouldn't be surprised if I lost that bet.
Right. And here's what's interesting. He actually threw for 4,300 yards and 3,800 yards last couple of years. So that's not crazy. I mean, that's, an extra 30, 40 yards a game. That's plus $1,100. To me, that's an interesting wager. These ones right now that involve the actual players were ones that I found and I thought were quite interesting. Next one, Matt Stafford. Do you think he could throw for 40 touchdowns this year?
That's where I would put it. And I think 41, 42 is nowhere out of the question. So, yes, I'd put money on that.
Yeah, I've said all along, I think Lions could have the number 1 offense. That would make you $1,600 if he hits 4-0. Le'Veon Bell, think he could possibly rush for 1,500 yards in that offense?
Yes.
Yes, plus $1,500. There's some good stuff here. There's, and again, listen, why not go to Vegas for the weekend? Or hey, you could, maybe win the trip, Sports Vault, Vegas trip with us. Come, razzballtour.com. Okay, Des Bryant, any chance he can go 7 games with at least 100 yards receiving?
I know he finished his last 3 games where he averaged over 100 yards and a touchdown per game, might I add. So 7 games straight of 100 yards.
Not straight, just over the season.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, you'd think that's kind of obvious. I looked it up. He's only actually done it 4 times and 5 times the last 2 years. But if he does it in 7 games, that is a plus $800 wager.
One word, Linehan.
Linehan. We're just going to put that on a loop. We're just going to keep saying Linehan. You with me on that?
100%. Let's do it. So it's like 14 minutes of just Scott Linehan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
All right, we are going to go into the Angry Dog in Dallas. We are going to go and have a draft. And then from there, what's going to happen is I'm going to pack this truck up and haul it to Houston, and maybe I'm going to kidnap Ryan for a couple days. I wasn't even joking about that. That might happen. All right, guys, don't forget, lock up your league fees for free, sportsvault.net, DraftKings.com, enter promo code Razzball, and follow me on Twitter, at Nick Capozzi, Nickcapozzi. This is Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. See you from Houston.